Again, welcome to CS 101, Introduction to Programming Using Python. This lab work covers Chapter 2 of our course textbook. That's input, processing, and output. Our main objective is to use the Python code to calculate miles per gallon and also calculate the total amount of meal purchased in a restaurant. So again, Chapter 2, we cover how to get an input from a user using either the assignment operator or the input function. Also how to perform arithmetic operations. So both two questions here, we are going to use arithmetic operations to solve them. Then we learn also how to print a result, which is our output. So far, we haven't learned decision statements or looping, whereby the program can perform a task multiple times or make a decision based on a condition. We shall cover decision statements in our next chapter, which is chapter 3. So let's start with the first problem. Again, everything here is input, process, and output. So here we have a car miles per gallon can be calculated with the following formula. So the formula is given to us and is the miles driven divided by gallons of gas used. So again, miles per gallon can be calculated using the miles driven divided by the gallons of gas used. So our question says we should write a program that asks the user for the number of miles driven and the gallons of gas used. It should calculate the car's miles per gallon and display the result. So again, we need input, process, and then output to display the result. Now, our input will be the miles driven will be given to us, and also the number of gallons of gas used. So first, we have a comment saying we should declare a variable that will hold the miles driven and the gallons of fuel use, and also the miles per gallon, which will be our results. So our first variable is miles. We make sure it's empty. So we initialize it to 0.0. Our second variable is gallons. We make sure it's empty also. So we initialize it to 0.0. And then the MPG. MPG is what we are looking for, miles per gallon. So our input will be miles and the number of gallons used. Then we calculate the miles per gallon. So here we are going to ask the user to enter the miles driven. So we are using the input function and tell the user to enter the miles driven. Now, as we know earlier, the input function, the data given to us will be in string. Since we are going to perform arithmetic operation, in this case division, we need to convert the input data to either int or float. Here we can see we initialize our variable to 0.0, so they are decimal numbers. So we convert the input to float. Then we assign the input to the variable named miles. Then we get our second data, which is to get the gallons of fuel used. So we're going to have instruction telling the user to enter the gallons of fuel used. We convert the input also to float, and we store it in a gallons variable. Now we have our two data that we need, our two inputs. We can calculate the miles per gallon by dividing the miles by gallons, and that will give us the miles per gallon. So we need to print our result, which will be our output. So here we said we use the print function, and we said we use whatever the miles per gallon is, we format it to 2 decimal places, miles per gallon. So the content of MPG divided equal to miles divided by gallons. The content is what we are going to print, and we use the format function to format it to 2 decimal places. So that's our first question. Again, from the question to calculate the miles per gallon is miles driven divided by gallons of gas use. So we declare our variables. We need 3, 2 for our input, 1 for the result. We get our input using the input functions. Then we use our arithmetic operator, which is division. The formula is given to us. Then the result we display it. So again, input, process, and output. So let's see our second program. Here, they say we should write a program that calculates the total amount of a meal purchase at a restaurant. The program should ask the user to enter the charge for the food, then calculate the amount of 18% tip and also 7% sales tax. So whatever the amount is, let's say we purchase the food $10, we are going to pay 18% of that amount as a tip, which will be $1.80, and then 7%, which will be somewhere around 70 cents for the sales tax. So let's look at the code. Here we need the food will be the purchase. Then we need to calculate the tip, which is again 18% of the food amount. And then we need to calculate the tax, which is 7%. And then the total, we had the food price, the tip, and the tax together. Now we know the tax rate is 7%, so we can have a constant variable and convert it 0.07. The tip rate also is 18%, so it's the same as 0.18. So now we have our variables. We have our constant variables also. So we now can ask the user to enter the food charges. So we use the input function again. Tell the user enter the charge for food. We convert the input to float since we are going to use it in arithmetic operation. Then next we calculate the tip. So the tip will be 18% of the food charge. So food times tip rate. Then we can also calculate the tax, which will be the amount of the food charge times the tax rate. Now we know the tip rate, we know the tax rate, we can find the total, which will be the food plus tip plus tax. Now we can display our results. First, we display the tip, which is 2 decimal places again using the format function. The tax also the same thing. And we use the format function to format it to 2 decimal places. Then the total also the same. So that's our input, again, is the food amount. The operations we are doing here is 3. We calculate the tip, we calculate the tax, and also we calculate the total purchase, which will be the food plus the tip plus tax. Then we display our 3 results, the tip, tax, and also the total. So let's see our last program here said we should write a program that will convert the Celsius temperature to Fahrenheit temperature. So the formula is given to us how we can convert, again, the Fahrenheit to Celsius. So F equal to 9/5C plus 32. So if I know C, I can calculate for F, which is the temperature in Fahrenheit. Now here the program should ask the user to enter the temperature in Celsius. Then it will display the temperature converted to Fahrenheit. So we declare the variables to all the temperatures, which is the Celsius and also the Fahrenheit. So we get our input. Here we need only one input, which is the C, the degree Celsius. So we ask the user enter a Celsius temperature using the input function again. Now we are going to do arithmetic operation. So we convert the input, which is string, we convert it to float. We assign the result to a variable named Celsius. Now to calculate the Fahrenheit, it will be 9.0 divided by, now the reason why we are using 9.0 divided by 5.0, because we want our result to be in decimal number, times the Celsius plus 32. Now when we get the result for the Fahrenheit, we are going to display the answer. So we have print, this is equal to, we format it also to 2 decimal places again in degrees. Again, the format can be any amount of decimal places or even no decimal place. So that would be the conclusion of our lab work here. Again, we solved 3 problems and we saw the miles per gallon, and the total food purchase. After we know the amount of the food, we find the tip, which is 18% of the food charge. Then we find the tax, which is somewhere around 7% of the food charge. We had those tip and the tax with the food amount, we get a total purchase of food. Then also here we learn how to convert a degree from Celsius to Fahrenheit using the formula here. So again, see you in the next lectures, and thank you for your time.